Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Meal Fat Bulletin, and we shall start with our headlines. Calm returns to Iraq's Basra after a week of violent protests. Serbia leader seeks to build trust in Kosovo. And moving on to our details, starting with Baghdad. A sense of calm returned to Iraq's southern city of Basra on Sunday after a week of violent protests over unemployment and poor public services that left at least 15 people dead and threatened stability in the region. Troops sent from Baghdad have reinforced police and government offices, and markets reopened after a quiet night. Municipality workers were out in force cleaning up the streets and carting away debris from the clashes. Noteworthy is that in recent days protesters have attacked government offices, political party headquarters, and the Iranian consulate. And going to Africa, a commercial plane crashed into a lake in South Sudan on Sunday and killed 18 people. Officials said the 19-seater commercial baby airplane had been traveling from the capital Juba. They added that among the dead were at least 3 children. Officials also said the 3 survivors are a 6-year-old child, an adult man, and an Italian doctor with an aid organization who was in a serious condition, while the cause of the crash is being investigated. On the other side of the world, Sweden went to the polls on Sunday in a general election that is expected to be one of the most unpredictable and thrilling races in the Scandinavian country for decades. Prime Minister Stefan Löfven said this election is a referendum about our welfare. It's also about decency, about a decent democracy, and not letting the Sweden Democrats, an extremist party, a racist party, get any influence in the government. This comes as about 7.5 million registered voters choose from almost 6,300 candidates for a 4-year term in the 349-seat Riksdag or parliament. In Moscow, opponents of the Russian government moved to increase the age for collecting state retirement pensions, held protests throughout the country on Sunday, and scattered arrests were reported. The protests were called by Alexei Navalny, the anti-corruption activist, who is President Vladimir Putin's most prominent foe. Rallies that appeared to attract hundreds of people were reported in Siberia and the Far East. News reports showed at least 40 arrests connected with the protests, including 12 each in the cities of Khabarovsk and Tomsk. It's worth mentioning that the plan calls for the pension age to be raised 5 years. In Kosovo, Serbia's president says the Balkan country no longer wants to wage wars in Kosovo and is seeking to build trust and friendship with majority Albanians after an era of conflicts. But Alexander Vučić also said in a keynote speech during his visit to Kosovo that Serbia will defend minority Serbs in its former province if they come under attack. Moreover, Vučić reiterated that an agreement to resolve the long-standing dispute with Kosovo was still far away, but promised to work to achieve it. Meanwhile, Kosovo Albanians blocked roads and burned tires on a planned route by Serbia's president in the former Serbian province. Onto the Brexit profile, former British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has compared Prime Minister Theresa May's plan for Brexit to putting the country's constitution in a suicide vest and handing the detonator to the European Union. Johnson also in his article in the Mail on Sunday said May's plan, which would keep the UK aligned to EU regulations in return for free trading goods, was a humiliation and amounted to agreeing to take EU rules with no say on those rules. It's worth mentioning that Johnson quit May's government in July after rejecting her proposal for close economic ties with the bloc after the UK leaves next year. And moving on to the United States, the U.S. East Coast could be hit with a powerful hurricane next week as Tropical Storm Florence continues to strengthen as it moves towards the mainland. Florence is expected to become a major hurricane by Monday, according to what the National Hurricane Center said, adding that eruptive intensification is forecast to begin Sunday. Moreover, the Weather Center said the storm is forecast to become a major hurricane on Monday, travel between Bermuda and the Bahamas on Tuesday and Wednesday, before approaching the southeastern U.S. coast on Thursday. From another perspective, officials in the Carolinas warned residents to prepare and to brace for impact. And finally, North Korea rolled out some of its latest tanks and marched its best-trained goose-stepping units through Kim Il-sung Square in a major military parade on Sunday to mark its 70th anniversary. Moreover, North Korea devoted nearly half of the event to civilian efforts to build the domestic economy. Tens of thousands of North Koreans waving brightly colored plastic bouquets filled Pyongyang's Kim Il-sung Square as the parade began. Kim attended the morning parade but did not address the assembled crowd, which included the head of the Chinese parliament and high-level delegations from countries that have friendly ties with the North. And before ending our news, let's take another look at the most important headlines for today. Calm returns to Iraq's Basra after a week of violent protests. Serbia leader seeks to build trust in Kosovo. And this was the end of our news bulletin for today. Thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow in a new bulletin.